Welcome to online classes. Myself, Syed Firoz Ahmed, Head of the Department of Botany, Nehru Degree College, Intikeri, Hubli. The topic of today's discussion is life cycle of Marsilia, which is one of the pteridophyte group of plants. The systematic position of Marsilia indicates that it belongs to genera Marsilia, coming under assigned under family Marsiliaceae, order Salvinians, class Pteridopsida, division Pteridophyta, and kingdom Plantae. The genus Marsilia is cosmopolitan in its distribution, and it is commonly called as a waterfall, represented by almost 53 living species and 10 fossil species. It is cosmopolitan in its distribution, that means it is distributed throughout the world in tropical regions, subtropical regions, as well as temperate regions of the world. Most of the species of Marsilia, they are found in warmer parts of the world, such as the tropical Africa and tropical Australia. The plant is aquatic or amphibious. Some species are aquatic, some species are amphibious, whereas some of the species, they usually grow in shallow ponds, but the fruiting body, that is the production of sporocarp, will be always on the soil, not within the water bodies. The amphibious species of Marsilia grow in waterlogged soil, partly submerged, and some of the species of Marsilia, such as Marsilia condensa, Marsilia rajasthanensis, and Marsilia hirsutus, they are xerophytic in their habitat. That means they grow in water scarce condition and they survive and withstand in a long dry spell of the year. The genus is represented by 9 species in India. Marsilia minuta is the most widely distributed species which is found in India. In Punjab, the plant is very common and found in rainy seasons. Marsilia brachypus, Marsilia quadrifolia, Marsilia rajasthanensis, and Marsilia aegyptiata are some of the common species which are reported in India. The plant is a sporophytic plant. That means it is a spore producing plant and it is polymorphic. Polymorphic because it is differentiated into a number of morphological structures. Some of the morphological structures which are developed on the plant are the root, the stem, which is modified, called as rhizome, and the leaf. The root will be produced on the lower surface of the nodal region of the rhizome, which is a modified stem. The stem is differentiated into nodes and internodes. On the lower surface of the nodes, the roots will be produced. Basically, it will be a taproot type of root system, but very soon the taproot gets disintegrated, because of which the roots will be given all over the surface of lower surface of the nodal region of the plant to produce adventitious roots. However, the adventitious roots are profusely branched and they go within the soil, positively geotropic and positively hydrotrophic in marshy clayey soil. Coming to the stem is prostrate. It is prostrate because it runs horizontally, differentiated into nodes. Wherever the leaf and roots are given, that region of the stem is called as the node, and between the two nodes, the region is called as an internode. Well, the stem is subterranean, partly submerged, and it is differentiated into nodes and internodes, profusely branched. In Marsilia hirsutus, there will be number of hairy structures which will be found all over the surface of the stem. This stem shows circinate vernation. The younger part of the rhizome shows circinate vernation, circinate physis. Circinate physis is an important characteristic feature which will be represented in Pteridophyta, particularly in the lower ferns and advanced ferns. Circinate vernation is nothing but coiling of younger parts to form a spring-like structure. That is called as circinate vernation. Any younger part of the pteridophyte ferns, they show circinate vernation. Maybe the younger part of leaf or younger part of stem. Well, on the upper surface of this rhizome, the stem produces leaf which is petiolated, long. So now that I told you that the plant grows in shallow water bodies, according to the depth of the water bodies, the petiole will be lengthy. The length of the petiole will be according to the depth of the water body. This petiole terminal part produces the leaflets. The number of leaflets will be even. The number of leaflets may be 4, maybe 6, maybe 8. Marsilia quadrifolia is the best example where the leaf at the terminal part produces 4 leaflets which will be arranged cylindrically to give an organization of palmately compound leaf. That means it is foliately compound leaf. The young leaves show circinate vernation. So this is the live image of Marsilia plant where the lamina, particularly the leaflets, are floating on the surface of water, whereas petiole will be submerged in the water bodies. The petiole as well as the rhizome will be submerged in the water body. Only the lamina, particularly the leaflets, will be floating on the surface of the water body, shallow water bodies. So Marsilia. Coming to the anatomical characteristics of Marsilia plant, as I told you, the plant is polymorphic, represented into number of morphological structure. Let us take the internal structure of each and every organ present in this sporophytic plant. Coming to the transverse section of rhizome, transverse section of modified stem called as rhizome. The transverse section of the modified stem called as rhizome is differentiated into outermost epidermis, intermediate cortex, and the central core called as stele. The outermost covering layer covering the rhizome is called as epidermis. Epidermis is uniciliate. It is 1 cell thick, made up of almost rectangular cells which are compactly arranged one beside the other without any discontinuities. And it will be additionally ensheathed by a protective layer, an insulation layer which is called as cuticle. Below this uniciliated single-celled epidermis, we have a multi-layered cortex. For the sake of convenience, we have classified the cortex into 3 parts. Those are the outer cortex, middle cortex, and inner cortex. The outer cortex is parenchymatous. The cortex is differentiated into outer cortex, middle cortex, and inner cortex. The cortex is multiciliated, heterogeneous. It is heterogeneous because it is made up of 3 types of tissues. Those are the outer parenchymatous tissue, middle sclerenchymatous tissue, and inner again parenchymatous tissue. So since the cortex is made up of more than 1 type of tissue, the cortex is called as heterogeneous cortex. For the sake of convenience, we have classified into outer, middle, and inner. Outer cortex is parenchymatous with large air chambers facilitating the aeration of the rhizome, and with hair-like structures where the cells are arranged in the form of a strip called as septum or trabeculae. Trabeculae alter with air chamber in turn alters with the trabeculae in the outer cortical part of the rhizome. Just below this parenchymatous multiciliated hypodermal outer cortex. We have inner cortex. Inner cortex is 2 to 3 cell thick. Even this is multiciliated, made up of sclerenchyma, which is a mechanical tissue functioning for giving mechanical support to the rhizome, so that the rhizome spreads horizontally on the bottom of the water bodies. Within the middle cortex, we have inner cortex, which is multiciliated, and this inner cortex is also parenchymatous. And these parenchyma cells will function for storage of food. Within the cortex, we have a central core which comprises the vascular tissues. This central core is cylindrical, and this central core is called as stele. The stele has an outermost covering layer called as endodermis. In this plant, there are two endodermal layers. Those are the outer endodermis and inner endodermis. The outer endodermis is uniseriated, made up of barrel-shaped cells showing Casparian thickenings. It is continuous without any discontinuities, and within this outer endodermis, we have a parenchymatous tissue called as pericycle. And within pericycle, there will be a layer of phloem tissue, which is cylindrical, below outer pericycle and outer endodermis. Within outer phloem, there will be a patch of xylem tissue, cylindrically situated, cylindrically distributed, and on either side of this xylem, there are two patches of phloem, outer phloem, inner phloem, and between outer phloem and inner phloem, a patch of xylem tissue will be sandwiched. Hence, the stelar organization is called as amphiploic siphonostele. The rhizome represents amphiploic siphonostele because it has two patches of phloem on either side of central xylem. If this is the central xylem, which is sandwiched between outer endodermis and inner endodermis, the vascular organization, the vasculature is called as amphiploic siphonostele. Below this, that means this inner phloem is again surrounded by inner. The inner, within this xylem strand, we have another phloem tissue called as inner phloem. Inner phloem is further covered by inner pericycle, and inner pericycle is in turn covered by another endodermis, which is called as inner endodermis. So, outer endodermis, outer phloem, central xylem, inner phloem, inner pericycle, and inner endodermis. And within inner endodermis, the central part of the stele is occupied by a patch of sclerenchymatous pith, sclerotic pith. So, since pith is present within the central part of the stele is called as siphonostellate. And since one patch of xylem is surrounded by two patches of phloem, the stelar organization is called as amphiploic siphonostellate. Next. Clear hai? Continuous haan
sir. 40 minutes more.
Next. Correct? Transverse section of petiole. The second most important part of the Marsilia plant is the petiole, and this anatomy of petiole reveals that it is also differentiated into three parts. Those are epidermis, cortex, and stem. As I told you, in rhizome, epidermis forms the outermost covering layer of the plant, whether it may be the covering layer of root, stem or leaf, or any other part. The outermost covering layer of the petiole is called as epidermis. It is single-celled thick, that means it is uniseriated, made up of rectangular cells which are compactly arranged without any discontinuities, and it is additionally encircled by a layer of cuticle which will protect the petiole from the corrosive property of water. Because the petiole is submerged in water and water has a corrosive property, to protect itself, the cuticle will be additionally enchanted around the epidermis, which gives strong insulation to the petiole. Just below this epidermis, we have cortex, and cortex is further divided into outer cortex, middle cortex, outer cortex, and inner cortex. The cortex is divided into two parts for the sake of convenience. Those are outer cortex and inner cortex. The outer cortex is parenchymatous, has number of air chambers and trabeculae, and within this outer cortex there will be inner cortex, which will be made up of the angular parenchyma cells with starch granules present. That means this inner cortex functions for storage of food, and food is stored in the form of starch. Here you can see the dots. Dots represent the granules of starch which are stored in the inner cortical cells. Just within this cortex, we have the central core called as the stele. Stele has an outermost covering layer called as endodermis, which is uniciliated, made up of barrel-shaped cells, and additionally showing Casparian thickenings. Below this endodermis, we have a parenchymatous layer called as pericycle, and within pericycle, there will be xylem and phloem tissues found. The xylem tissue is aggregated to form a strand of xylem. There will be two V-shaped xylem strands with larger metaxylem cell towards the center and smaller protoxylem cells projecting towards the external part of the plant. So, since there are two xylem strands, the vasculature is called as diarch and it is called as exarch. Exarch because the protoxylem cell is facing towards the external part of the petiole and metaxylem is present towards the central part of the stele. So it is protostelic because it lacks pith in the central part of the stele. Next. Coming to the anatomy of root, जरा सुधार लेते हैं. Anatomy of root also reveals that it is differentiated into outermost covering layer. The outermost covering layer of root is called as epiglemma, not epidermis because it will not be enchanted by cuticle. And just below this epiglemma we have cortex and stele. The cortex is heterogeneous because it is made up of more than one type of tissue, and depending upon the cells differentiated, for the sake of convenience, we have classified the cortex into outer cortex and inner cortex. Outer cortex is parenchymatous with large air cavities and trabeculae. Inner cortex is sclerenchymatous because it is made up of dead mechanical tissue called as sclerenchyma. The inner cortex is called as sclerenchymatous. So there are two tissues in the cortex of root. One is the outer parenchymatous with trabeculae, inner sclerenchymatous which gives mechanical support to the root. If you take the central part of the root called as stele, the stele is diarch, protostelic. Protostelic because it lacks pith. It is diarch because there are two radiating arms in the xylem. Centrally there are two larger metaxylem cells, and on either side of the metaxylem cells there will be two strands of xylem showing protoxylem facing towards the external part of the plant. So since the protoxylem is facing towards the external part of the plant, it is called as exarch, diarch, protostelic. Next. The reproduction in Marsilia. The plant Marsilia reproduces by two methods. One is vegetative propagation, vegetative reproduction, sexual reproduction. Vegetative reproduction, as the name itself will indicate that the vegetative part of the sporophytic plant will be involved in the reproduction. That is why it is called as vegetative reproduction. The vegetative reproduction is by means of production of tubers. Some spericular outgrowths will be developed on the lower part of the rhizome called as tubers, which will be filled with reserved food material as well as necessary stimulus responsible for differentiating into a plant. these tubers, when they get separated from the mother plant, they fall in favor of the substratum and germinate into a new sporophytic plant. So, coming to sexual reproduction, the production of tubers is found in some of the species of Marsilia called as Marsilia hirsuta and Marsilia quadrifolia. Vegetative reproduction is common in Marsilia hirsuta and Marsilia quadrifolia. Coming to sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is a method of reproducing where sex organs are involved or the generative cells are involved. The sexual reproduction is by the production of spore producing organs. The Marsilia plant is a heterosporous plant. It is heterosporous because it produces two types of spores. Those are the microspores and megaspores. So since the plant produces two types of spores, the plant is called as heterosporous. Well, microspores and megaspores, they are produced in a special organ of the plant which is called as sporocarp. This sporocarp are born on the lateral surface of the petiole or they may be attached at the axillary region of the plant. However, there are three different types of species where the 53 species of Marsilia, they may produce the spores into three different types. In first type, that is in case of Marsilia polycarpa, number of sporocarps, special reproducing organs, pocket-shaped special reproducing organs called as sporocarps, are linearly produced on the lateral surface of the petiole. Or in case of Marsilia quadrifolia, a group of sporocarps will be commonly attached with a common stalk, and this stalk will be attached on the lateral surface of the petiole. In case of Marsilia minuta, a group of sporocarps will be attached to a common stalk, and this common stalk will be attached to the axillary surface of the Marsilia sporophyte. Axillary part of sporophyte means that will be present in between the leaf and the stem at the axillary region. So in case of Marsilia coromandelica and Marsilia uncinata, a solitary sporocarp will be produced at the axillary region between the stem and the leaf. So there is a high diversity pertaining to the production of sporocarp. Either the sporocarp will be produced like Marsilia polycarpa or Marsilia quadrifolia or Marsilia minuta or Marsilia coromandelica. Next. Photograph of live sporocarp where a group of sporocarps are produced at the axillary region. Probably this species which is shown in the photograph is Marsilia quadrifolia, where a group of sporocarps, 3 sporocarps are produced at the axillary region of the sporophytic plant. So this is a sporocarp where a spatula structure, almost a bean-shaped structure, is produced at the lateral surface of the receptacle or the stalk, and this part of the sporocarp is called as raphe. This is called as raphe, and this is the fruiting body which is situated at the lateral surface of the stalk of sporocarp. Next. Next. The horizontal longitudinal section of sporocarp. To understand the structure, anatomical peculiarities of sporocarp, we take the section of sporocarp into different planes. One of the planes in which the section is taken of sporocarp is the horizontal longitudinal section. And when we cut the sporocarp in this way, this is how the anatomy represents. The anatomical peculiarities in horizontal longitudinal section of sporocarp reveals that the sporocarp has a thick wall which is multi-ciliated and heterogeneous, made up of epidermis, hypodermis, palisade tissues and mechanical tissues. So such complicated multi-ciliated wall will be present, called as the wall of sporocarp. And within this wall of sporocarp and two parts of sporocarp section, we get patches of gelatinous ring. This is the upper gelatinous ring, patch of upper gelatinous ring, and this is the patch of lower gelatinous ring. So on either side of this gelatinous ring, there will be number of sac-like structures produced, called as sori, singular sorus. And in each sori, there will be a receptacle with 3 sac-like structures. 2 sac-like structures are present on the lateral surface of the receptacle, and one of the sac-like structures is present at the terminal part of the receptacle. The 2 sac-like structures which are present in the lateral surface of the receptacle produce microspores, and the sac-like structure which is at the terminal part of the receptacle is called as megasporangium. So there are 2 microsporangiums situated at the lateral surfaces of the receptacle, and one terminal sac-like structure is present at the terminal part, called as megasporangium or macrosporangium. Microsporangia produce microspores, macrosporangia produce macrospores. Microsporangia produce male spores, whereas megasporangia produces female spore. The microspores are infinite in number. Good number of microspores are produced within microsporangia, whereas in megasporangia, a single functional female spore, megaspore, macrospore is produced. Next. Vertical transverse section of sporocarp again shows the thick wall of sporocarp, which is multiciliated, heterogeneous, made up of different type of tissues, and within that we get to 2 patches of gelatinous ring and a wall of sporangia called as indusium, and within the wall of indusium we get either microsporangia in the receptacles or macrosporangia with the receptacles. So this is how we cut to take the section called as vertical transverse section of a sporocarp. So this indicates how exactly the gelatinous, on either side of the gelatinous ring, these spori are attached laterally. Next. As soon as the sporocarp attains maturity, the sporocarp dehisces the spores, liberates the spores. That is called as dehiscence of sporocarp. During the dehiscence of sporocarp, the sporocarp, since it has a thick multi-layered wall which has dead cells in it, they become turgid on account of absorption of water by inhibition, and as soon as they become turgid, the wall opens to release the gelatinous ring. See, this is how the gelatinous ring slowly opens, so that the laterally attached sori, they get exposed, and the spores and sporangium which are present within the sorus, they release their spores, either microspores or macrospores. Next. The microsporangia, as I told you, these are situated at the lateral surface of the receptacle, and they produce innumerable number of microspores, and these microspores, they are minute and produced in infinite numbers. This is the structure of microspore, which is differentiated into enzyme and intine, and within intine there will be a nucleus which will be haploid, having one set of chromosomes, because during the development of microspores, the sporangia undergoes reduction division. the sporophytic plant is diploid, whereas the microspores and megaspores produced inside the sporophyte are haploid in their chromosomal number. The young microspore germinates into a plant which is called as microgametophyte. Microgametophyte is also called as male gametophyte, and male gametophyte produces a male gamete which is called as anthrozoid. Anthrozoid exhibits animal characters because it is locomotory and has locomotory organs called as flagella. Number of flagella will be present at the tapering end of top-shaped anthrozoid. And by the help of this anthrozoid, the male gamete goes in search of an egg and it fuses with the egg. On the other hand, megasporangium, which is produced at the terminal part of the receptacle inside the sori. This produces good number of cells, but only one cell will be functional, whereas all the other cells get degenerated, and they supply the nutrition for single cell to develop into megaspore, and this megaspore will get differentiated into prothalial vegetative part and generative part. Inside the generative part, the female sex organ called as archegonia will be produced, inside which a single egg will be produced. So haploid egg fuses with haploid anthrozoid to produce a diploid cell which is called as zygote. Zygote multiplies into a new embryo, and this embryo develops into a mature diploid sporophyte which is autotrophic, long living, whereas the gametophytic generation is short-lived generation which will be found in very lesser period of time, whereas the sporophytic plant dominates throughout the year. Next. Coming to the schematic representation of Marsilia, this is the sporophytic plant which is polymorphic, heterosporous, differentiated into root, rhizome, leaf and a fruiting body which is called as sporocarp. This Marsilia plant may be undergoing vegetative propagation by means of production of the tubers, or it may be by means of fragmentation. So these are the two methods of vegetative propagation, vegetative reproduction. Coming to sexual reproduction, for sexual reproduction, reproducing body, a special organ is produced called as sporocarp, within which two types of sporangia are given, called as megasporangium and microsporangium. And when they develop into spores, two types of spores on account of meiotic division during the development. The smaller spores are called as microspores. Larger spore produced inside the microsporangium is called as megaspore. Microspores are given in good number inside microsporangia. Megaspore is given solitary inside the megasporangia. Microspore gets differentiated into microgametophyte when it falls on favorable substratum, multiplies to produce the male sex organ called as antheridium. On the other hand, megaspore produces female gametophyte, and that female gametophyte, on the generative region of the female gametophyte, the plant produces archegonium, female sex organ. Male sex organ produces antheridium, on the other hand, female sex organ produces egg. Both are haploid in their chromosomal number because the gametophytes are haploid, the sex organs are haploid. Because the sex organs are haploid, the gametes are haploid. When these two male pronuclei, when these two generative cells fuse with one another on account of fertilization, they produce a diploid cell called as oospore, called as zygote, and this zygote germinates into a new sporophytic plant. Thank you. You can contact me to my contact number given in the video so that you can get your doubts clear. Have a good day. Stay home.